Doing an intro video. Doop, 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 doop. Please get Eradicator first so he's not just like... He does the thing where he just like fucks off, you know? I think we got him. No, he did his thing. He cheated. And the screen clarity again is like really good on this build. You can definitely tell what's happening most of the time. But that's mostly my choice of using Firestorm. Like, we don't have to use Firestorm. I'll talk about there's actual video after this, you know. This is just the nonsense opening, so you guys click. Aw, Chaos. That's the thing I'm weakest against. I don't even think I was attacking the right direction. Oh well, they're dead. We win. Hey guys, Butts here, and today I want to talk about this trigger socket fire spell and hit enchant from King's March. I've been playing with it over the past few days and I have a really fun build with it, but I kind of just want to discuss like ideas to how to actually use this outside of like what I'm directly doing. So yeah, let's get into that. This is essentially the same thing as Mjolnir, it's just fire skills, but there is like two huge major upsides for it, right? One being a rare, so you can use like pseudo 6-link like how I have here. And then the other being it's an axe, so you can use Lancing Steel Spraying. This part is really important to me, like at least with how I'm thinking about using it. Because with Mjolnir, you generally use Cyclone to trigger your skills here, so you can't do more than 1 or 2, just because to trigger all of these, you'd have to get like 12 attacks per second on Cyclone on like I think Mjolnir is like a 1.15 base attack speed, so that's like ridiculously difficult. But since Lancing Steel Spraying, it's pretty easy to hit 12 times a second. So let's just say we hit 12 times a second. It'll trigger, the first hit triggers this, the second hit triggers this, the third hit triggers this, the fourth hit triggers this, etc. So we get to trigger 12 skills a second as opposed to just 4 or 8. And since it's a rare, it's really easy to make a weapon like this. Awakened Orb is really cheap in software trader now, but by the way, I think I played like 1 divine for it. But you just take an increased critical strikes axe, shaped as the only shaper mod, and then you take an Elder Axe with increased crit damage as the only Elder mod, and then you Awaken Orb to slam them together. Hoping you have an open prefix, just to craft hits can't be evaded or increase spell damage. Hits can't be evaded is probably a little bit better in general because you don't have to solve for accuracy. I just happen to hit T1 accuracy, so you know, sometimes you get lucky. But obviously, I would prefer to just have just these 2 mods, so then I can multi-mod on spell damage plus hits can't be evaded. But you know, this I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. Anyways, so with that in mind, we get to have 3 additional links from our Squire supporting this. So each one of these is like a pseudo 6-link, which is pretty powerful and I think a lot stronger in general than Mjolnir. And since we have Lancing Steel as a great enabler, we can do cast on crit plus 2 separate spells to trigger about 7.5 times a second. So in total, we should have about, what is that, 12 plus 15. So we have 27 skills triggered a second off of our cast on crit and then axe setup. I don't know that this is exactly the best way to do it, but this is the easiest one. I just wanted to get it to maps just to see how this like enchant felt and like the build concept in general, and so far feels really good. It's really hard to see my screen, but I think to me the most powerful thing I could think of to actually do with this is like an Archmage setup, because I made a video about this prior where Archmage, the maximum way to like maximize your damage, I would think, would be to trigger the most skills linked with Archmage as possible a second. Obviously, like the best skills like Ice Nova, a Frostbolt, Vortex of Projection, etc., etc. But so with that in mind, you can do the same exact setup with Archmage, and then you can also have Archmage plus 2 additional skills in your Katava's Thirst. And then next thing you know, you could be triggering like upwards of like 40 Archmage spells a second. The reason I didn't go with that initially is because that's going to be very difficult to set up, like solving Mana Leech and all that stuff. Like I was thinking like you can go Khaleesi's Grace to get 2 base crit to like help with the base crit of this axe. And then down here you can do a, it's not called Pranda's Pact anymore, but it's the one where it's like 6% increased crit strike chance per notable, like, or per node taken in radius, it's large radius, and then you have an Unnatural Instinct here. It ends up being like 200% crit chance on a build like that, so that's like a pretty easy way to get there. The other thing I was thinking is just because you're using Lancing Steel spraying as an enabler doesn't mean you have to be cast on crit. That's just where my head goes because I'm obsessed with CoC. Don't clip that. But you can just do something like Lancing Steel plus Mana Leech, maybe faster attacks, Life Leech, or just like other pseudo like nice to have supports with it. And if the thing about that is, then you don't have to be CoC. You don't have to have, well, I guess you do still have to have accuracy. You have to have hits can't be evaded, but you don't have to solve for crit on a big mana build, which is ideal because like big mana builds generally just want to scale mana, right? So you do that, and then the lightning damage is lucky amulet, and then you get like a ton of damage that way. That's probably where I'm gonna consider going next with this, like once I get a little bit further along. But if you guys have any other cool ideas to try outside of just like this Lancing Steel like spraying setup to actually abuse this, let me know. Okay, I'm gonna talk about the specifics of my build now. So if you guys don't care, goodbye. Yeah, so I'm going to talk about the specifics of this build. First, I just want to touch on the axe real quick. It's really hard to make a good spell axe. That's why this is set up the way it is. Because I couldn't think of another, like just looking at the page for the axe mods, it's really hard to think of another supported gem mod you can actually get here. And it's like the generic axe mods just aren't good for you. There's literally crit multi, and that's it. It's the only good spell mod you can actually get through outside using an essence. It's literally just crit multi. So with that in mind, I think you want to use an axe that's like this, that just gives you pseudo links, right? And the only other one that kind of makes sense is Socket Gems supported by added fire damage, but there aren't even 3 skills that you could put in here to like actually support everything by that. So I think this is kind of makes the most sense. And then once you're doing this, it's like your skills have like this like 8.5 base crit, and then it just kind of makes sense for me to go CoC in that direction. Maybe that doesn't make sense, but it did to me. So then 8.5 base crit is still a little hard to get cast on crit going. It's like you generally want something like a dagger or something that has like an 8.5 base crit starting, so you get to 10, because then you don't need that much crit to like actually crit cap. But so that's why we're going Inquisitor, because I can get 500 crit chance out of this pretty easily by just using things like Astromentus and then Utmost Might to get strength, since we're on the int part of the tree, so I have a little bit of strength here. Ideally, eventually this will be a rare and not Astromentus because it's not very good. But since we're stacking strength, Shaper's Touch just like decent defense for us right now. We can definitely do better. And then once I switch to this, hits can't be evaded, I don't need the accuracy from this anymore. But what I will say is I do want to be armor and ES, just because you want to be like have a lot of ES for Pious Path, because you scale your ES regen off your life regen. So having a big ES hit pool makes sense. And since we're in a spot of the tree that like we don't really have access to good evasion, but we do have access to like these good armor nodes. So I did want to go armor ES, and then with that in mind, I think it kind of makes sense to go this and then take advantage of this mastery, because now that base armors have so much like defenses out of them, like this mastery, for example, gives me I think like 450 ES, and I know it gives me like 3,500 armor, just from like getting this additional from my body armor, since there's no real downsides for us using these different bases, because the way this tree is set up, and I don't think it can be changed that much. At least, like you come down to maybe Mage Bane, it would be really hard for us to hard cap our suppression, right? So I don't think there's a huge incentive to us using evasion ES bases. So if we just rely on lucky, and I can just craft suppress here, like we end up with like a good, like what is it, like 37% chance to suppress spell damage, which is like 70 with lucky, like that's a real chance. And then since our hit pool is so big, I did just want to go glancing blows, because I just kind of want to smooth out our hits and just make the damage less spiky, since we have this recovery that we can just like take advantage of, like sure, we get chunked really bad, but like we'll recoup our hits like back pretty quickly, right? Because we have like 2,000 regen a second right now, which will only go higher. One thing I very much dislike how I have this set up right now is it's very difficult to get the cost of this down, because this is like, these are each like 60 mana a second. And this is 27 of these in total a second, so it's like we spend thousands of ES a second. The real downside to that is like I don't want to be minor matter EB. Like, one, because of the points, but two, it just like makes our hit pool smaller. The only way I can think of to actually solve this is to do something like a Vivisynct, which is -2 mana cost per corrupted socket equipped. Downside of that is I have to corrupt all our gear, which I find super annoying. So I might do that later on, because if I do that, then I can use like a Glorious Vanity with a Corrupted Soul, probably like right in the socket, honestly, and it'll make this 15% of our life as extra ES, and then it'll split damage between our life and ES, which is great for Inquisitor because you recover both at the same time. Then we'll end up with like a 6,000 life pool, 6,000 ES pool. We'll have ridiculously high hit pool. And then since we're also like on a pretty good spot on the tree for just like max res, like I'm taking that. Like as you can see, I have 80 all max res with like 1 over on cold. Since it's like only 3 points to grab this. And then we ended up getting 1 from this because I want the block for glancing blows anyway. I'm going to take this armor mastery because I want the regen and armor regardless. And then I can take this because all of our slots have armor. So then we'll end up with like, you know, like ideally around like 82 all max res. And then we'll have like 70% chance to press spell damage, and then like 65% chance to block spell damage, and then 60% chance to block attack damage. So like we should be pretty well insulated from hits in general, and then our recovery should recoup the stuff that we actually do get through. Downsides of things I need to fix. I would also like to get endurance charges into this build. Like I'll probably be anointing inexorable once I fix our strength otherwise, and I don't need this. We're just not crit capped right now, so that's why this is the way it is. I probably want to use that jewel I was discussing earlier. It's not called Piranha's Pact. I can't remember the name of it, but the increased fire damage per socket like allocated thing here. And I'd probably put it right here. I think it's like 12% more damage or so. I could do one for increased crit chance, but that feels kind of bad on Inquisitor because I can just get more stats to fix our crit chance. But yeah, the only other thing I think is I have 14% CDR in our belt because I have 11 crafted on because this goes up to 12. And then I have 3 from a jewel. You need to get 14 total for the cooldown of your cast on crit trigger to be 7.5 times a second versus 6. You can get an additional on your boots as well, like 5% there. The reason I didn't is because I want the life regeneration rate, since that directly scales our life recovery second and our ES recovery second. So I don't want to take that from my cold dead hands, you know. But yeah, I think that's pretty much everything. I feel like I just like rambled for 6 years, but I feel like that covers everything to build. Oh wait, one last thing. I probably am at some point going to have to lose this mark on hit and blood rage and use an unset ring or something because, oh yeah, maybe once I drop precision. But yeah, long story short, we don't have a guard skill in right now, and we have a ton of armor, especially like when our like flasks are up or whatever. But I would really like to get a cast of damage shaken molten shell. That might be excessive because our hit pool is so big, but yeah, once I can do that and then get endurance charges, I feel like we'll be like mostly immune to most damage. Yeah. This build feels very beefy. The only other thing I can think about changing too is the skills that I'm triggering here, like super don't matter, right? I'm going corpse skills just because I couldn't think of anything that sounded like fun or good to actually use in here. So that's why I have the desecrate enabler here to enable like corpse skills here. I think you could do something like lancing steel, casting crit, GMP, ice spear, unearth maybe. Just because Ice Spear is obviously very good, and we don't need to be a particular damage type since we're Inquisitor and we have inevitable judgment. Like we ignore resistances regardless of what damage type we deal. I think that could kind of make sense. You still want to stay in the corpse path, but you could also just like change this stuff to something like maybe keep Firestorm, Blazing Salvo, and then like Rolling Magma or something here. If you don't want to go the corpse route, maybe that's better. I'm trying to get off of Firestorm, even though I know it's like one of the best damage options like remaining to us, because it just like covers your whole screen and it just makes it very easy to actually dodge stuff. So yeah, if anybody's seen the stream, you could tell it's really hard for me to tell what's actually going on. But yeah, I'm gonna keep working on this build. Hopefully I figure hopefully I figure something out. But honestly, I kind of like the way the build is right now. So I'm just gonna keep playing it. I'll be on Monday at like 7 on Twitch if you guys want to check that out. Streaming on Twitch and YouTube now, I guess. Well, at least for the time being. So, come check it out if you want to see. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. I'll include my PoB in the show notes, like that I'm currently working on, the one I'm going off of. Not like committed to this, Again, I still think this build can be improved. That's kind of why I'm sharing it. Hopefully someone has some ideas that they can share or different things to try. Yeah, oh god, why am I losing my voice the exact second I'm trying to like do the outro? But well, thank you guys for stopping by. I'll see you.